Hello and welcome. I'm Barbara O'Neill. Today we're focusing on a vital aspect of health, that is maintaining a healthy heart. Our heart is the powerhouse of our body, tirelessly pumping blood to ensure every cell receives the oxygen and nutrients it needs. Despite its critical role, heart health is often overlooked until problems arise. In this session, we'll discuss practical strategies to sustain your heart's best performance, address common cardiovascular issues, and provide tips for preventing and managing heart disease. So stay tuned as we dive into this important subject and learn how to support your heart health.
So, what happens in heart attacks? Why do people have strokes and heart attacks? And we are told that the number one cause is cholesterol. Is that right? So what I'm going to look at now, let's do an assessment of what cholesterol is. And cholesterol is made by the liver. The liver is the organ that makes cholesterol. And it'll make as much cholesterol as your body demands. So why would your body demand to make cholesterol? Well, cholesterol heals damage anywhere in the body. It's like the Band-Aid. And 80% of the cholesterol that our body makes, or our liver makes, is made from glucose. And 20% of the cholesterol that our liver makes is made from fat. Now, just this one piece of information alone tells us it's not the butter on the bread, it's the bread under the butter that's the problem. See, the wrong guy's been shot. It's not the olive oil on the pasta, it's all that pasta underneath the olive oil. And the theory that fat causes heart disease has never been proven. Now that's shocking news, isn't it? And the scientist that first came up with this theory was a man called Ancel Keys from the University of Minneapolis in 1953. He came up with the theory that fat causes heart disease. So he went all over the world looking for different countries, different cultures that would prove his theory. And he had to throw the Maasai out because they drink blood and milk and eat meat, zero heart disease. Is that true science, to throw out the people that don't support his theory? And he had to throw the French out because, they love their cream and their butters. But they have very little heart disease. And in the book, The Great Cholesterol Con, by Dr. Malcolm Kendrick, a British cardiologist, he said, I'm still waiting for the proof. And he has a quote from Ancel Keys, where Ancel Keys says, we're pretty sure the research is going to come. Is that science? That's not science at all. So I'm going to show you the role that cholesterol plays. So there are two main cholesterols. One is called high-density lipoprotein, and it's called the good guy. It's called the good cholesterol. And the reason it's called the good cholesterol is it's the carrier. So whenever there's excess cholesterol, it'll carry it back to the liver. And then we've got low-density lipoprotein, another main cholesterol, called LDL. It's called the bad cholesterol. But you know, the body doesn't make anything bad. It has a role. And LDL's role is that of a repairer and a rebuilder. That's what it does. That's one of its main roles. Let me show you what it does with alcohol. Here's the membrane around the cell. And alcohol is the ultimate solvate, or it dissolves the membrane. And that's why, and I'm sure you've read accounts of young men at a party daring to drink a whole bottle of scotch, and the young man dies that night. In fact, Alexander the Great, he was 33 when he conquered Europe, and he went from party to party drinking the Herculean cup, which is something like a litre of alcohol, and he died that night from alcohol poisoning, 33 years of age. See, what alcohol does is it dissolves the membrane around the cell. So very quickly, the liver makes excess cholesterol to try and hold that together because it's the repairer and the rebuilder. And then when the effects of the alcohol wear off, this membrane is too rigid, and so then the cholesterol is sent away. See, it's got a very important role in the body, cholesterol.
Cholesterol is often misunderstood and vilified, but it plays essential roles in the body beyond just being a bad or good substance. For example, cholesterol is crucial for producing hormones like estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol. These hormones regulate various bodily functions, from metabolism to immune response. Without cholesterol, your body wouldn't be able to synthesize vitamin D either, which is vital for bone health and immune function. Additionally, cholesterol is a key component of bile, which helps digest fats in your diet. It's also essential for the formation of cell membranes, providing structure and fluidity to cells. Every cell in your body relies on cholesterol to maintain its integrity and functionality. It's important to understand that cholesterol itself isn't inherently harmful. Problems arise when there's an imbalance, particularly when LDL cholesterol becomes oxidized. Oxidized LDL can lead to plaque buildup in the arteries, increasing the risk of heart disease. However, this process is influenced by various factors, including diet, lifestyle, and genetics. Therefore, managing cholesterol levels isn't just about cutting out fats. It's about ensuring a balanced diet, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and understanding the full picture of how cholesterol operates within your body.
Let's have a look at how it works in the blood. So here's the blood vessel, and because of its low density, LDL is always sitting on the edge. Because of its high density, HDL is always in the middle. And in her book, Put Your Heart in Your Mouth, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, she spends her first 3 chapters looking at all the environmental poisons that damage the endothelium cells that line the arteries. And we're exposed to these environmental poisons, and they come in and they damage the endothelium cells. Okay, students, who's going to heal the damage? LDL. It's right there on the edge, ready to plug up the hole, plug up the holes. What an incredible process that we can thank God for. Because if it didn't plug up the holes, the blood would leach into the tissues and we'd die. But the person doesn't realise that what they're washing their clothes in is toxic. What they're washing their hair in is toxic. The food that they're eating has got chemicals on it. They don't realise it. It's so well hidden. Remember, this industry that works on fear lies. It's not the truth. And the damage continues. Did you manage to go to any clothes shop today and start looking at the labels? There's hardly any clothes that aren't made out of chemicals, and it's all adding. It's a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there. It's all adding into it. And then what people are cleaning their bathrooms with is toxic, a lot of that stuff. Have you thrown it all in the bin and bought your white vinegar yet? And the damage continues. And what's happening now? Oh, and the person finds a cockroach, so they go and get the man to spray the house. Oh, they're toxic chemicals. And so the damage continues. And the mercury fillings in the mouth. You know, I don't know how they ever got away with legalising mercury in the mouth. It's a neurotoxin. Vaccines contain mercury. Most fish today contains mercury. The bigger the fish, the higher the accumulation of mercury. And the damage continues, little by little by little. Something else is happening. You've got little protein molecules floating through the blood. And when someone's on a high carbohydrate diet, putting a lot of glucose into the blood, that glucose will connect with these protein molecules and it becomes sticky and it sticks on the wall. And let's say we've got an area here that's particularly narrow. One of these little protein sugar molecules dislodges and stuck. If that happens in the carotid artery, that's a stroke. If that happens in the heart, there's your cardiac arrest, your heart disease. Can you see it's not just one thing? It's a whole lot of little bits and pieces building up over many years.
The damage builds up over time from various sources, leading to cardiovascular issues. Each factor, like toxins, poor diet, or toxic cleaning products, adds to the problem. LDL cholesterol, though necessary for some bodily functions, becomes an issue when it builds up and forms plaques in the arteries. Continuous exposure to these harmful substances worsens the situation. Even with modern treatments, they can't completely undo the effects of years of environmental and lifestyle damage. This ongoing damage speeds up the development of heart disease and other related conditions. A diet high in carbohydrates not only spikes glucose levels, but also contributes to insulin resistance, which fuels inflammation and artery damage. When glucose and protein molecules interact, they form compounds that further damage the blood vessels. The bottom line is that heart disease isn't caused by just one thing. It's the result of many small issues adding up over time. Tackling these issues in a holistic way is crucial for managing and possibly reversing some of the damage.
And the more you breathe through your nose, remember the little canals at the back of your nose, they start to open more and more and more. The more you breathe through your mouth, they start closing up. In fact, they did an experiment on monkeys, poor old monkeys. They blocked up their noses for 6 months. They had to only breathe through their mouth. Their whole face changed. Their head dropped down, the jaw dropped down, and they were sick. After 6 months, they unblocked the noses and taped their mouths up. I think they opened their mouths when they drank and they ate, and their whole face structure changed. And when they were breathing only through their mouth, the little canals at the back of the nose, they almost closed because they weren't being used. But when they shut the mouth and opened the nose, then little by little, the little canals at the back of their nose, they opened up again. And the man that wrote the book, Breath, his name's James Nestor, he and another friend of his did 10 days of blocking up their noses. Their sleep apnea, their snoring went through the roof, their blood pressure went sky high. The amount of body systems that were affected because they were breathing through their mouth. And then they unblocked their noses and they started taping up their mouth, just a little bit, not like this, just a little bit. And I think it was within 4 days, their sleep apnea and their snoring had totally stopped, just from nose breathing. And he gives one story about they were cycling, and he felt like he was nearly dying because he would not let himself breathe through the mouth. But he found eventually you've got more energy because you're getting more oxygen. So nose breathing is a blood, in fact we're going to put, opens blood vessels. It's called vasodilator. So what opens blood vessels is nose breathing. In fact, there are a couple of reports of doctors when the COVID thing was at its peak that were using nitric oxide in the nose to help recover from COVID. And yet all they have to do is nose breathe. Because nose breathe, it releases nitric oxide. Mouth breathing does not do that. And it maintains carbon dioxide levels. And remember, we need carbon dioxide in the transfer of oxygen. Not enough carbon dioxide, not enough oxygen. So that oxygen can be in your blood, but the cells cannot access it. We need to get the oxygen inside the cell. So cayenne pepper, how much cayenne pepper? 1 capsule 3 times a day. If you're handling that well, you can go up to 2 capsules 3 times a day. Some people, when they first stop their blood thinning medication, they'll take 2 capsules 3 times a day. Cayenne pepper not only thins the blood, cayenne pepper opens the blood vessels, and cayenne pepper rebuilds the lining of the arterial walls. That's impressive. In fact, in his book, Curing with Cayenne, Sam Beiser, it's an e-book, he maintains that cayenne pepper can cause a regeneration of heart muscle. It's a powerful herb. Your greens, try and have greens every day. In fact, I think every lecture we've had so far, we've talked about the wonders of dark green leafy vegetables. Back to nutrition, we need protein. Those amino acids are needed to rebuild arterial walls, to rebuild heart muscle. Legumes, nuts and seeds. And your good fats, because as I've shown you, fat does not cause heart disease. There is something else that needs to be abstained, and that's your refined oils. Your refined oils are dangerous oils. In his book, Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill, Udo Rasmus shows that there are some oils that can damage. And the margarine that they introduced to try and reduce heart disease, it hasn't reduced heart disease, and cancer rates have certainly risen because it's a damaged oil. So it can actually contribute to the damage in the arterial walls. So the only time that fats may play a role in heart disease is the damaged oils. So this is your fried food, this is your heated foods. There's only one oil that can handle heat, and that is the coconut oil. Saturated fats are heat resistant, light resistant, oxygen resistant. And you look at the South Pacific Islanders, when Captain Cook landed on those islands, he was confronted with the most magnificent specimens of humanity he'd ever seen. The men were tall, strong, agile. The women were beautiful. And what did they eat every single meal? Coconut.
Coconut oil has been a dietary staple in the South Pacific for centuries, and it's easy to see why. It's packed with medium-chain triglycerides, which are processed by the body differently than other fats. Instead of being stored as fat, MCTs are quickly used for energy. This can give a boost to your metabolism and energy levels. Coconut oil also contains lauric acid, known for its antimicrobial properties. This helps fight off harmful bacteria and viruses, supporting your immune system. Beyond its health benefits, coconut oil is great for your skin. It's a common ingredient in skincare products because it moisturizes and protects the skin effectively.
So your fats found in your nuts and your seeds, your avocados. Again, the only fats that are dangerous are your refined fats. Moderation in all the good things. You can overdo your nuts, and it's easy to do that, they're so delicious. So please keep it to only about 8 to 10 a meal. Exercise. Your heart is a muscle, and exercise strengthens the heart. Exercise is a very important part of strengthening the heart. And the book Body by Science by Dr. Doug McCuff, he's a cardiovascular surgeon, and also PACE by Dr. Al Sears. He's also called the exercise doctor. They both showed that the high-intensity interval training is the best exercise to strengthen the heart. And as the name implies, these are intervals of high intensity. So what's the high intensity? This is running for your life. Can't run, push-ups, can't do push-ups on the wall. Most of the research has been done on an exercise bike. Because on an exercise bike, the person's holding on. If the hip, knee or ankle aren't working well, they haven't got all the weight are on their hips. And if they're a bit unstable on their feet, they're holding on, and you cycle as hard and as fast you can. And ideally, that's done for 30 seconds. And if you don't think that's very long, try it. Recovery. Recovery time they found was approximately 90 seconds. If you find that after 90 seconds you're still a little breathless, then wait until you've got your breath back. And recovery time, they also have found that recovery time's better if you're moving. You might feel like stopping, but if you can just keep moving, walking slowly, or if I'm climbing a hill and I'm halfway up and I've done my 30 seconds, I might do some upper body stretches, might do some leg stretches. As long as you're moving a little bit, it's a more effective recovery. And that's usually done for a cycle of 6. So let's do the maths on that. How long have we got here? 15 minutes a day. If you have not got 15 minutes a day, it's time to assess what you do with your time. How much time are you on the phone? How much time are you on the internet? 15 minutes. This is the best insurance policy you can make. So you just got to find out what works for you. It's only 15 minutes. That's not long. We've all got 15 minutes. Because my understanding is we've got 24 hours in a day, is that right? And there are 4 15 minutes in every hour. So you can't afford not to do that. Doug McGuff says, when you start doing this high intensity interval training, we're not going to be able to hold you down because you're going to have so much energy. You just got to find out where to put it in and how to put it in your day. Your fitness is not determined by how hard and fast you go, but how long you take to recover. So it's a good idea to write down your recovery time, because as you get fitter, your recovery time will get less and less.
To get the most out of your workouts, try mixing in different types of exercises. Strength training, like lifting weights or doing bodyweight exercises, can help build muscle and improve your endurance. Staying hydrated and eating a balanced diet will also support your recovery and overall performance. Pay attention to how your body feels and make adjustments if you're pushing too hard. The key is to stay consistent with your routine. By making these habits a regular part of your day, you'll see better results and keep improving your fitness over time. Thanks for joining me today. We've covered some important ways to keep your heart healthy, from understanding cholesterol to choosing the right salts and fats. Your heart is like the engine of your body, so taking good care of it is key to feeling great and staying active. Keep these tips in mind and make small changes for a healthier heart. If you have any questions or need more advice, just reach out. Here's to a healthy, happy future.